All right, cool. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our talk today on open source software, also known as OSS or free open source software or FOSS. Basically, we'll just be going over what it is, why it's important, and you can follow along as I walk you through making a pull request. So first, what is open source software? It's software with source code that anyone can inspect, modify, and enhance, and it's the opposite of proprietary or closed source software, which has restricted access, usually to just a company or someone who buys the software. So basically, if you've worked on GitHub and seen any public Git repositories, that's open source software. There are a lot of reasons to either get involved in open source software or just have it. You can learn new tools and techniques from working on projects and also join a community of developers. For instance, for big projects or organizations like Internet Archive, they might have a Slack or a Discord server where you can meet people. You can also improve projects you care about. So if you use something like the Linux operating system, you can help fix bugs or implement features. Additionally, if you make a big impact, you can probably add the projects you've worked on to your resume, though I haven't personally done this yet. And of course, in the end, open source software means free software for just about anyone with internet access. So it makes technology generally more accessible to people. So some examples of OSS that are very popular today are the Linux operating system, Apache, Firefox, Chromium, and Android. Just one last note, only about 6% of open source developers are women, and even less, just about 5% are regularly active. So less of our issues are being worked on, and this is a chance for you to step in, basically. So there are a couple of ways to get started. You can just go to Google, search up first open source contribution. There's this website, firsttimersonly.com, which is kind of a blog format article. You can just read through it. There are some tips to get started. And there's also a website called firstcontributions.github.io, which lists a couple of good first issues tags that projects have. And there's a large variety of projects. If you want to search a specific one, like say React or VS Code, you can just Control F. So as an example, so this is what the issues tab looks like for one very popular GitHub project, VS Code. You can see that there are these tags on the side of the issue name, and all of them say good first issue. So these are a good first, like if you're looking to contribute to an open source project and you don't know where to start, just filter for this kind of issue, and then you can read through it and ask questions. So next, we're going to walk through a contribution. So if you just go to this link, tinyurl.com/firstcontribution, the next few slides, I'll just show you the steps to go through it. All right, my computer's frozen, so unfortunately I cannot put it into the chat, but it should be easy enough to search it up. So before you start, you will need a GitHub account, and if you're using CMD, which we're not going to cover today, you need to have Git installed on your computer so you can use it on the command line. All right. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes if everyone wants to log into GitHub. All right, I'm gonna assume that everyone has logged into GitHub if you want to follow along. So next we're gonna walk through a contribution. All right, so if you have gone to the URL that was on the previous slide, you should see this screen. Second, having technical issues. All right, sorry everyone. I'm having issues with sharing my screen, so I'm gonna see if I can fix this. All right. Okay, cool. So in the top right corner, you can see this button that says fork. If you're on the screen, so just click that and fork the repository. This will make a repository that you own, so that means you can edit. And then later on, after you make some changes, we will create a pull request and then it'll edit the original repository. So after you're done with that, you can go to the top left corner where you can, let's see. Top left corner where it says master, and then just click the button that says master, and then type in a branch name. So you can say like your name dash edit, and then you click basically the text that says create branch. Afterward, you can go into the README, add your name. So if you go to contributors.md, basically you can see that I added my name at the top here. Just click the pencil icon in the right side, and then just add your name. Sorry, I'm having technical issues again. All right, so picking up where we were, after you've created a branch, you should go to the file that says contributors.md. So just click into the file, and then you can click the pencil icon, as I said, that was on the right side, top right corner of the file. You can make a change to the file, put your name there, put a link to your GitHub account or some personal website, and then scroll to the bottom, and then just put a comment for what change you made, basically, and then you can commit the change to your branch. Afterward, in the main page of your branch or of your repository, you should be able to scroll up, and then at the top, it should say compare and pull request. So it should look like this screen. And then after a couple of minutes, it should automatically, I think this repository is set up to automatically approve all your pull requests. So then if you go to the original repository, first contribution / first - contributions, and go to the contributors file, you should see your name at the top or wherever you edited it. All right, so after we've walked through that, there is a more general process that I like to take to find a project and work on it. So usually if I'm using a tool, say like Android or Google's dev library that I find really helpful and I want to help, then I will usually go to the Git repository of the project and then read the contributing guidelines, check out their issues tab like I showed earlier with Microsoft VS Code, take an issue that I think I can work on based on the skills that I already have, ask questions if I need to clarify any points in the issue, and submit a pull request, incorporate the feedback if people make comments, and then they will merge the contribution. So as an example, I'll just show some screenshots of a project that I worked on before. All right, so as I mentioned, there's this developers library that Google has, and they basically post tutorials for how to use some of their technology, like Android, Firebase, and so on. This website is maintained by a team called Google-Dev Library, and this is their repository. So first, I check out the contributor file. For Google specifically, and I think Facebook as well, they have this agreement that you have to sign saying that they can distribute your code. A lot of times there are more basically instructions on how to set up a development environment, but yeah, it'll vary based on the project. So then I go to the issues tab. I think at the time there was a different bug that I chose, which was a lot easier. It was basically some cosmetic issue changing what was displayed on the site. So yeah, this is the issue that I picked and worked on. Basically, if you had any questions about the issue description, then you could put them in the comments under here in the issue thread, basically. Let's see. Yeah, this is an example. So here was another issue for another project where I basically offered a recommendation on how to how to fix the issue. So after that, you do the forking, you edit the file, and then you create a pull request like we just did. And then they'll have some feedback. So at the bottom of this screenshot here, this is a code review, basically where he points out a line in the code where he wants me to fix it. So then you can incorporate that feedback. And then afterward, they'll merge the feedback into the main repository. And then later on, after they deploy the newest sites, you'll see your changes. So generally, there are a lot of ways you can look for projects like this. So if you use any tools in your own projects, type checkers, I don't know if you've been to archive.org, but it's basically saving old sites from like past versions of sites. Or if you go to this link, opensource.google/projects, they have a lot of different projects that people just generally contribute to. Additionally, if you're not as much of a technical developer, if you don't want to work on websites, there are fun repositories where you can contribute developer jokes, or there's this link here. Yeah, I'll just put it into the chat, where if you're more of a designer or want to contribute to documentation, then you can contribute to that as well. So that's basically it for today. Thank you for coming, and good luck with your future open source projects. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah.